everyone, it's Darkseeker here again. Welcome back for another video. Now, I had so much fun playing Hooktusk Rogue on Standard mode in my last video. I thought I would return to Standard, and this time we are playing a big Shaman deck. And the idea is to cheat out your big threats quite early with spells like Eureka, with cards like Muckmorpher, and cheat them out early and then bring them back to life with ancestral spirits. And when you do this, you can be the aggressor early on with minions like Ysera, Walking Fountain, Al'Akir, which you have managed to get down onto the board super early and start taking advantage of all of the benefits that those cards, those minions can offer you. You have defensive plays in this deck too, with Hagatha's Scheme, with Hex. You have some healing with Witch's Brew, and Earthshock to silence those nasty mechs. So let's have a look at the deck in action on the Standard mode ladder.
You stand before King
and we're starting out against a Hunter. So this is my first game with the deck. We're at rank 4. And seeing Al'Akir and Ysera in the opening hand, not especially great, unless we get Eureka. Okay. Earthshock is a card that I do like having in the opening hand. I'm finding it especially good against mech hunters. I'm finding it especially good against mages. A spell power enabled Earthshock on a Sorcerer's Apprentice is pretty awesome. Beardy Man here joining us for a little bit of a chat. Now the question is it worth silencing that 1/1? I think it is. Maybe I should have silenced the mech, but silencing the 1/1 means that he doesn't get a spell back to hand. I think that's worthwhile. Beardy Man chilling with a little bit of food there. Yeah, making me feel hungry. I want food too. And Beardy Man there spotting Ysera in our hand, and clearly has gone into shock. Yeah, it's not often that you see Ysera in the year 2019 played on the ladder. Okay, so this guy is playing a mixture of mechs and spells and secrets. Interesting. And this is my favourite thing about Ysera. Dreaming and making the world tremble. I absolutely love her entrance. It's just brilliant. And the dream cards, if you can get Ysera to stick on the board for a few turns, the dream cards themselves, apart from Laughing Sister, can just be game winning. So we have Eureka. We have the possibility of getting Ysera onto the board next turn, if that's what we choose to do. Ooh, Walking Fountain. Oh, Al'Akir. So, we get burned by Freezing Trap, of course.
Tremble before me.
That's really unfortunate. However, we do now have another copy of Al'Akir in our hand. Yes, it costs 10 mana, but it could prove to be useful. So, using Hex here, I think that's absolutely fine. We're setting up for some big turns that are going to be soon to come, and may as well silence that. What else am I going to silence that he plays over the next few turns? Okay. So, heading into turn 8. And we've got rid of the freezing trap. So, I think I fancy a little bit of healing here. And this feels especially strong because of the healing totem that is sitting on that board. And I think that healing totem is going to become an absolute priority for him to remove. Of course, Deadly Shot RNG, of course, kills the minion that I need. Although, this isn't a terrible thing. As I start to play my other big threats, that healing totem being alive could actually be very relevant as I start trading into his minions and getting my minions healed up. Maybe that wasn't the worst thing. Okay, so it's time to get value from Cairne here. Seen a secret played, so I am a little scared of freezing trap. Yeah, he understands how dangerous healing totem is here too. Good trade for him. Wow. 7-9 stats with healing. Interesting. Okay. So, we test for... Okay, it's explosive. Sure. So now we know that it's not freezing. I guess we're safe to start putting more stuff on the board. That's Al'Akir. Question is, what do we want to do with Al'Akir? Do we want to kill that off? I think we do. Okay, we get our Cairne back to life. This is pretty strong. And we're in a good spot here. We're in a really, really good spot. Nine lives. Okay. I'm looking for an opportunity to get Ysera onto the board and have her stick. And I think once that happens, it will be game over. Right, there's our healing, which we don't need at this point. Okay, dreaming and making the world tremble. Here we go. And we get Dream. Okay, that's pretty good. We can use that to send some threats back to his hand, depending on what he plays. Threats like Spider Bomb, which, yeah, we certainly want to return that to hand.
All upon us.
Once again, targeting that healing totem. Okay, so we can dream that. I think that's worth doing. That negates some of his value. Delays things for a turn. Now, if he replays it, and Ysera happens to die, because during my RNG, that's what would happen, At least Ancestral Spirit is going to guarantee that Ysera comes back to life. And I'm playing relatively conservatively here. You can see me holding certain things back in my hand. I'm holding back the big bad voodoo spells there. Just because I don't feel a need to play them at this point. I'm also slightly afraid of silence effects, but I assume his deck doesn't run them. Unless he discovers something from a spell. But yeah, this is absolutely fine. We go face here. And this is game over. This is game over. Okay, another secret, sure. Lifesteal. Okay. So we have 14 damage on this board. Misdirection. Wow, okay. And we take 4 to the face. Huh.
I shall bring you rest.
Yeah, but there's not much he can do here. And I've just realised that I've missed lethal because I have an Al'Akir in my hand on the left. I could have played it. Or I could have dreamed my Al'Akir back to hand and played it again. Yeah, I've just missed lethal there. That's really funny. But what's crazy about this is that there's no way for me to get punished for that. With my health total being what it is, with me having access to healing in my hand, and this board being so ridiculous. Yeah, it's game over. We'll call it Extended BM. That's what we'll call it. Okay. Moving on to our next game, as we build our confidence playing this deck, and hopefully not missing lethal as we move forward. We're going up against a mage. Now, on wild mode, I'm not sure about standard, but on wild mode, I really dislike playing against mage. Particularly quest mage, who plays Vargoth, and Flame Wakers, and Giants, and then repeats their turn after completing the quest and absolutely smashes your face with those giants, and there's nothing you can do about it. I actually hate playing against that deck more than I hate playing against Big Priest. Now, thankfully on standard, there are no Flame Wakers. Flame Wakers can just be incredibly problematic when comboed with Sorcerer's Apprentices and lots of cheap spells. But thankfully we don't have that problem on standard. Earthshock I quite like against mages. Can deal with the Sorcerer's Apprentice, or can deal with an Acolyte of Pain and stop the card draw. But for now, let's see what we get. Ooh, that's pretty good. That's decent. It's got 7 health. I'm happy with that.
The end is coming!
Now this is rather hilarious. The end is coming. Okay. He's aiming to clear the board. But Ancestral Spirit. Such an amazing turn for me here. Such an amazing turn.
You'll never win.
Now there are two of them. There are two 10-drops on the board. He needs another Doomsayer with another freeze effect. And Luna's Pocket Galaxy, yeah, it only costs 5 mana. But it was too slow for him here. Feels pretty good.
Cairne versus Rexa.
Okay, heading into our next game against a Hunter.
You stand before King Rasta.
And already feeling a little bit more confident about playing this deck. Hagatha's Scheme, I think, is a really good keep. Earthshock, if he's playing mechs or bombs, I think Earthshock can do some seriously good work. Not sure if I want to see a second copy of Earthshock, though. Okay, so it's going to be a slow start for us. I suspect we're just going to be hero powering.
Look out below!
But here come the bombs. I suspect double Earthshock is going to be pretty handy here. He needs to kill the Spellpad Totem.
Ooh, I wonder what this does.
Yeah. We may as well develop Spirit of the Frog. It's got stealth, so he's going to struggle to deal with it. And that is now setting us up for potentially double Earthshock next turn. Now, what I'd really like to do is roll a Spellpad Totem, because that would just be fantastic. And there we go, we roll Spell Power. We're good at this game. So we kill the wolf, draw a card, and I think the priority here is to kill the mech, to kill the bomb. That's going to deny him 2 damage to our face. And as a bonus, it'll stop any magnetic shenanigans. So I feel like we're in a relatively good spot here. We have healing in our hand as well. But he's going to go wide on the board here. Ignores the spell power totems. He wants to push damage to the face. Fair enough. So that's the board clear. But we have to be conscious of our health total here. We're down to 15. And so we're going to be relying on Eureka here to do some good work for us. I was actually hoping for the Walking Fountain, but Al'Akir is still fine. Maybe I should have traded into one of the bombs. That 3 damage to the face isn't going to be relevant, per se.
Well fought. I can
Oh,
see.
okay. Fair enough. I'll take that. I'll take that concede. Okay, next game is against a Shaman. Wonder if it'll be a mirror matchup. So, I'm keeping Spirit of the Frog because I can play it and then I can play Fast Sights. Hagatha's Scheme, good to see in hand. Yeah, we're in a good position, I think, moving forward in this game. Looking at my hand here. This is an Overload Shaman. Interesting. See, I'm not very familiar with the decks that get played on Standard. I don't spend a lot of time playing Standard. So Spirit of the Frog, I assume he's going to try and play some cheap spells next turn. Get his card draw going. Can I assume that his deck plays Malagos? And that he'll want to draw lots of cheap spells, combo them with Malagos and kill me? How badly do we want to kill off his Spirit of the Frog? This is the question. So we get an Earthshock. And whilst I was thinking of playing Muckmorpher, I think denying him card draw could be more important here. So our Spirit of the Frog has done a pretty good job for us. And I did that. It looks like a worthless play. I did that just to draw the card. Just to draw the card. And I think picking up the second copy of Earthshock, I think, is relevant here. But looking at my hand, I feel pretty set now. I feel pretty confident moving forward. We have our big threats in hand. We have a Hex, we have Earthshock to deal with some of his threats. We have Eureka to cheat out threats onto the board. We have Hagatha's Scheme to deal with a big board. Okay, Al'Akir, who seems reasonable. I'll take that. So next turn, 6 mana to play with. What do we start off with? We can see what we get from Eureka. Okay, another Al'Akir. This Al'Akir retains his Divine Shield, which is pretty good. Question is, does he run Hex? That's the question. And that's what I'm afraid of. But if he deals with this Al'Akir, I have another one. I have Ysera.
I must ponder.
Yeah. Doing a bit of pondering. He clearly doesn't have an easy way to deal with Al'Akir here. Sticking with the Overload theme by the looks of things. Oh, Lava Burst. Okay, so I've got to assume that his deck runs Malagos, right? If he's playing Lava Burst in that manner. And I assume that with a card like Ancestor's Call, he can put Malagos onto the board and then just start going face with spells. But at this point, we've outvalued him. We've outpaced him. His deck is not fast enough here to beat us. And this is what happens when you can cheat these big threats out early, when you can resurrect them, when you can keep things sticking to the board. Okay. So here's a wide board. We don't have any kind of lethal here, I don't think. We have 14 damage.
Dark spirits twist the trees.
And I think this is fine. And I feel so confident here that I'm going to ignore his minion. I'm not going to bother trading into it. I'm saying to him, you have to deal with this Alexstrasza, and you kill off the first body, another one comes back to life, and that is a Doomhammer. Bloody hell, I've not seen that for ages. And I think he's going to try and prove a point here in terms of how much damage he's got access to. Yeah, who needs Malagos
I will mourn
when you've got Doomhammer?
Victory is yours
Wow.
this time.
You stand before King Rastak.
Alright, let's look at another game, and we're going up against a Warlock. So, Muckmorpher for turn 5 seems like a certainty. We just need to survive until turn 5, if we're going up against an aggro deck. And yes indeed, this is a Zoolock.
Put this apple on your head.
Put this apple on your head. Okay. I'm getting a little bit scared here. I'm starting to build up a board. Eureka seems reasonable. And Hagatha's Scheme, fantastic pickup. So Hagatha's Scheme kills off the Juggler and the Flame Imp, does not remove the Magic Carpet. Hex, yeah, that removes the Magic Carpet. Very timely pickup. Good draws for me here. Of course, he plays another one.
Prove your worth, Cur.
And we're taking a lot of damage here. A lot of damage. But I think we have no choice. We have to Hagatha's Scheme. We have no more AoE left in our hand, so we have to be conscious of the fact that if he builds up another big board, we could be in trouble. Ancestral Spirit on a 0-3 taunt. I think that was worth doing. That's going to buy me a little bit more time to get things together on my side of the board, perhaps. Okay, Eureka. Here we go. Okay, I was actually hoping for Al'Akir. Or maybe even Ziliax. But look, Ysera, she's going to give me those dream cards, and maybe those dream cards could help out. If we get Ysera Awakens, that's a board clear. And there's no chance of him killing Ysera at this rate. She's got 12 health, right? So she is going to stick on the board for the next few turns. Now, if she had Taunt, that'd be pretty amazing. Like the Lich King. What is he thinking about here? Ooh, okay, go wide on the board. What else will he commit? 5 mana left to play with. Okay, got some lackeys, sure. That's pretty good. Okay, so a wide board here in play. Our health total at risk. And so I'm looking at Ziliax. Because we have Nightmare. And this healing is going to be very pertinent. Question is, what do I want to kill? I think we kill the thing with the most attack. Yes, it's going to put something on the board, perhaps.
I shall bring you rest.
But I think that's fine. Because he has a lackey in hand, for sure. And so maybe if we get lucky here. Yes, we've just negated some of the value from one of his lackeys. That is really good for us. And now this Ziliax. It has Taunt, it has Lifesteal, and he's giving me more healing. Wow, what a turn. And all of that was down to Ysera. So ladies and gentlemen, Ysera in 2019. Great card, confirmed. And there's rank 3. Right, so Cardinal's Big Shaman deck. Let's be serious about this deck. This is a deck that plays Cairne Bloodhoof, Ysera, and Al'Akir in 2019, right? And you'd look at that on the surface and you'd think, what is this? Is this 2014 Hearthstone? And yet the deck works really, really well. The proof is in this video. I picked this deck up without any prior experience and I was able to win games, right? That is proof of the ability of this deck to win games on the standard mode ladder. The only thing I would say is maybe it could do with a little bit more healing. There is one copy of Witch's Brew in the deck, and if you're facing a hyper-aggressive deck that draws really well, I think that healing can be pertinent in the mid to late game to help you survive so you can develop your big threats. But maybe when you get to the late game, you've got access to Walking Fountain anyway, and the healing from that is insane. But maybe we take out one copy of Ancestral Healing and we put in one more copy of Witch's Brew. Maybe that is just something to consider. But anyway, you saw me play this deck, you saw me misplay with this deck, and yet you still saw me win with this deck. So ladies and gentlemen, if standard mode is your thing, give this deck a try if you've got the cards. It's not a cheap deck. The legendaries in this deck are quite plentiful. But if you've got the cards, give the deck a try and tell me what you think about it. And I would be interested now, I think, in going back to Wild mode and playing Big Shaman in Wild, because I've just got such fond memories of Ancestral Spirit and Reincarnate, but with cards like Sylvanas, with Kel'Thuzad, so Wild has got access to a greater range of legendaries, so it makes me want to go back and try this kind of deck in Wild mode. So, thanks for joining me everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all again very soon for more standard or Wild mode fun.